Mickey Shalhoub is a retired army officer. He is taking his family somewhere for a summer break. His family includes his wife, Sophie Shalhoub.
Mickey Shalhoub is a retired army officer. He is taking his family somewhere for a summer break. His family includes his wife, Sophie Shalhoub, daughter Janelle, and son Jake. Sophie was driving the car and the son and daughter were sitting behind. Later, Mickey fell asleep. In a dream, he watches two girls running in fear in a hilly area. He was in a soldier uniform, following the two girls with his gun. As he goes near them, he shoots one and wakes up in the car with a scared face. Janelle and Jake are not happy with the selected holiday place. They express their disinterest in going to the decided place. They find it to be the most boring holiday of their lives. They arrive at their home in the middle of the woods. Jane and Jake are disappointed at the location. They decide to stay in the car when their parents move inside. The couple enters the house and finds trash everywhere. The half-eaten food is left on the table. They find awful smells everywhere. Sophie believes Mickey's brothers have stayed there and have not cleaned anything. Sophie asks Mickey about informing his brothers about their visit, but gets disappointed after learning there is no mobile signal in the area. Mickey looks around and guesses his brother Noah is still living here. Sophie is unhappy with that but doesn't say anything. Jane and Jake arrive inside. Jane passes comments on the picture of Mickey with his brother Noah. Jake sees an old coin that Mickey's grandfather gave him when he was old. There were pictures of Mickey's grandfather and mother. Mickey was named after his grandfather, and Jake finds so much resemblance in both faces. Mickey's whole family served in the military. He was 16 when he joined the military. Jake wants to sign up for the military, but Mickey doesn't allow him, saying he was stupid to join the army and would not let his family follow that. After spending some good time at the dining table while eating, the four go to sleep as they are tired after traveling. In the morning, Mickey wakes up early and goes outside to visit his father's grave, which is near their house. He was thinking about him when Sophie arrived with tea. The two discuss Mickey's father. The two are enjoying the peaceful environment here, but they are not sure about their children. Later that day, the family was out in the woods testing the use of guns by hitting bottles. Sophie was excellent at using guns as Mickey taught her. Jake also tries after taking details from his father but fails to shoot the bottle. Jane gets offended and walks out when her parents tell her to use a gun. Sophie says she doesn't like weapons. Someone is looking at the family behind the bushes. Sophie arrives at the cabin to talk to Jane, who is using an inhaler. She tries to stop her from complaining as if it is ruining everyone's mood. Jane believes her father is forcing her to stay here. Jake was checking the TV that was working when father sent the children into the room and checked the back of the TV where 2 bags full of money were hidden. They were thinking about it when Jake arrived, telling them there was something under his bed. Mickey goes inside and finds Noah's dead body under the bed. He decides to leave the place. When they got out of the cabin, they saw some people out there. Mickey takes them back to the cabin. He gives a gun to Sophie in self-defense. Jake and Jane are scared. They spent the whole night in the cabin. Jake and Jane fell asleep, but Sophie was on duty to protect the family. In the morning, they hear car sounds. Mickey goes out and points a gun at the car. The 2 men, Kane and Frankie, came out of the car and on asking, they revealed they had paid a lot of money to Noah for this place, but they killed him when they found him stealing money. Kane asks for the bag hidden in the cabin, and in return he will allow his family to go free. Mickey doesn't accept his offer and forces them to leave. Kane and Frankie meet other men in their group and call the team to take down the family without creating any trouble. The Kane team, with guns, arrives at the location. Mickey decides to escape the cabin. He, Sophie, and the children take the bags and leave the cabin without getting caught by the man who was keeping an eye on the cabin. Kane and the team surround the cabin. He orders Mickey to surrender, but bursts at his man, Max, after finding the cabin empty. He receives a call from the group leader, Carlos, who orders him to clean up the mess as early as possible. On the other hand, the family is running in the wood. They get tired, and Mickey tells them to take a rest. He goes to hide the bags somewhere. Kane explains the mission to the team. They have retrieved 2 bags from Kane's former Sergeant Mickey. Frankie kills Boris, who is not ready to take down Mickey for money. The other team members get scared. After hiding the bags inside bushes, Mickey returns to the cabin and secretly hears Kane's plan. Kane sends a team into the woods to capture the family. Mickey returns to the family, and together they set plans for the future. Mickey leaves the three and goes ahead to check the place for safety. Kane's man Phil senses something in the woods. He opened his walkie-talkie to talk to Kane, but before he could do so, he was killed by Mickey. He takes everything from him after killing him and tells Kane his man is dead. Kane tries to make Mickey emotional by telling him how he tortured his brother before killing him. Jake asks Sophie about his father's past when he was in the army because he never talked about it. Jake wants to go out to help him instead of hiding here. Meanwhile, Kane was looking for them in the woods with the team. One man finds an inhaler in the woods, which belongs to Jane. Mickey arrives and gets angry at Jake for deciding to go out. At night, Kane tries to talk to Mickey through a walkie-talkie. Sophie listens to their conversation and finds out her husband was involved in something he did not tell her. She asks him and reveals how his brother pointed a gun at him and killed the whole family. Later that night, Mickey goes out and kills another enemy. Meanwhile, Jane had an attack and found her inhaler missing. Jake takes the gun and leaves to find an inhaler. Hours have passed and Jake has not returned. Sophie decides to go out and find him. He tells Jane to stay behind as it is dangerous out there, and she will inform Mickey when he returns. Meanwhile, Mickey recalls his old days in Afghanistan. Kane and Frankie were colleagues of Mickey, and they were deployed in Afghanistan. Kane starts taking down civilians, but Mickey is not in favor of that. Kane points a gun at him when he tries to stop him from killing civilians. Noah was also there with Kane and Frankie. In the present, Mitch attacks Mickey. The two face off and beat each other. Mickey was about to kill Mitch when another team member arrived. Mickey kills Mitch and makes a run. She chases him and shoots him. Mickey gets a bullet at the waist but continues running. She arrives near him and the two engage in a fight. Mickey gets the upper hand and stabs her in the belly. She dies on the spot. Kane, Frankie, and Stan arrive and find their female member dead. They see number 7 written on the tree trunk by Mickey. Kane and Stan are involved in an argument when Stan says Mickey is hunting them one by one. Mickey tries to treat himself where he got the bullet. Jake finds him and informs him about Jane's inhaler. Jane and Sophie are also out in the woods to find Mickey and Jake. Mickey sees Hung and Cebu near them. He asks Jake and the two run in different directions. Cebu chases Jake. Hung follows Mickey and arrives near the lake. He was looking around for Mickey when Mickey came out of the water. He engages Hung in a fight. Hung gets the upper hand, but Mickey throws his gun in the water. Hung takes out the blade, but Mickey successfully throws it away while fighting him. Hung tries to drown him in the water when Mickey finds a gun in the water and shoots Hung. He takes his gun and blade and runs to save Jake, whom he told to hide in the old barracks. Jane and Sophie were looking for Jake and calling his name. Stan caught them and took their gun. Sophie requests that you not hurt them, as they have not done anything wrong. He tells them they should follow what he says, and then nothing will happen to them. He gives the inhaler to Jane. On the other hand, Jake was caught by Cebu. He beats him and puts a gun at his neck when Mickey arrives. He orders Mickey to leave his gun. Otherwise, he will kill Jake. Mickey throws his gun, following the orders. Mickey kills Cebu, taking out another gun from his back. When a man tries to shoot Jake, Mickey hugs Jake and checks his wounds. Jake is crying with pain and wants to go home. Stan has taken the two ladies to Kane. Kane contacts Mickey through his device and informs him about capturing Sophie and Jane. Mickey gets worried and accepts the offer that he will give them bags and he will leave his family. Kane slaps Sophie, who is trying to protect Jane, tries to stop Kane from behaving unprofessionally. Kane shoots Stan and he dies. Kane tells Sophie he will kill all of them after getting bags. Kane takes Jane into the room and tries to rape her, while Frankie holds Sophie outside, who begs Frankie to leave them. Mickey leaves Jake in the woods with a gun and goes alone to free his family. He kills the two men watching the cabin. He hears the screams of Jane and shoots in the air. Kane and Frankie came out of the cabin with Sophie and Jane as hostages. Mickey places a gun at his forehead and orders Kane to leave his family. Otherwise, he will kill himself and they will never get their money. Kane says he will let only one of them walk away. Sophie requests that Mickey let Jane's name, but he calls her name. He sends Sophie away to reach Jake as he needs her. Meanwhile, he hands himself over to Frankie. Frankie takes his gun and the blade beats him. He then leaves with Frankie to show him the place where money is hidden. Sophie meets Jake and tells him they have to leave the area. Meanwhile, Mickey takes Frankie to the bags, but before giving him the bags, he engages in a fight with him. Mickey kills him with Frankie's blade when he says he will kill Mickey's family. Jane is left with Kane in the cabin. Kane tries to convince Jane to spend time alone. He apologizes to her for hurting her before. She watches a picture of her grandfather and gathers courage. She goes near Kane, but throws him with his chair and makes a run. Mickey also arrives and watches to run. He tries to shoot Kane but fails. Kane captures Jane and takes her hostage again. Mickey throws his gun away. Kane slaps Jane, who falls to the ground unconscious. Kane and Mickey begin fighting. The two get wounded. Kane takes the gun and is about to shoot Mickey when Sophie arrives and shoots Kane from behind. Mickey takes the gun and shoots Kane. The family finally survives. The next day, Mickey buries Noah's dead body and leaves the cabin with bags. Mickey tells the children they will use the money to go to the holidays in New York as children wanted it. And the movie ends here. Kindly hit the like and subscribe buttons as it greatly supports us. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.